for today's cup of coffee, I have something that I thought it was a really interesting article. And we're not trying to be controversial because we have people of a variety of belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And we share some of our belief system with you all. We're open to other people sharing their belief system or lack thereof. We don't judge.
No.
Like I said, we try to share.
We know our journey.
Within this, I found this a really interesting thing. And this comes from Daily Mail by David Wilkes and was June the 2nd of 2024. And that there was a British-born young man who died at the age of 15 in 2006 after a life of piety and online preaching. And he's now set to become the patron saint of the internet.
Why of the internet?
Well, it's just because he preached online.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I just read that. And so this was, like I said, it was a very interesting story to me. I'm going to just sort of hit through. I'll put the link in the description box so that you can go and read it fully. And so they have moved the body to an Italian town of Assisi because he really loved St. Francis of Assisi.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go through here the article, and now I've got pictures to show you here. His mother has written a book about the child's life and said that he was always a very pious child. From the time that he was just little, that he was totally God-centered. And that what he would do, even as far as if anything that came on TV or whatever had to do with sex, he would either leave the room or he would ask his parents to change the channel. If it was, they had a story about him being at a swimming pool and that there were a couple that was very amorous and that he had said something to the lifeguard, and basically the lifeguard had told them to take that someplace else because it was certain things you shouldn't do in front of small children.
Right.
There's a difference between, the get a room type of stuff and just showing affection.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently this had crossed the line for this young man. And so within this, it said that he made his first Holy Communion at age of 7, which they said is not unusual for Italian children. And he tried to attend Mass every day. And that it says, but despite coming from a privileged background, that Carlo preferred to live a simple life. And he donated pocket money to the poor and volunteered in a soup kitchen. He loved animals. He owned 2 cats, 4 dogs, and many goldfish.
Yeah.
And it says, along the way, he learned computer programming, and he excelled in it. It said, in the time, he would set up a website devoted to the Eucharistic miracles of the world, described as an international exhibition designed and created by Carlo Acutis, I think is how you pronounce it. And he says the servant of God. And the website is still available today. And in 2006, I'm used to doing the 20s at this point, that he contracted an aggressive form of leukemia. And he passed away at age 15. And that's just tragic for any family that has to do that. It says that he had been admitted to a hospital 10 days prior with dehydration, and he claimed he had no fear of death, and he told a nurse that there are people who suffer much more than he did. So this was a very devout young man.
Yeah.
And said that some of the most telling insights into his life are to be found in the book written by his mother. Well, and I think she's a little bit biased on that.
Yeah.
Because people have a tendency to, children are children.
Right.
And she said it was natural for him to interrupt his daily activities to pray. So, and some kids are just like that.
Yeah.
They are very spiritual children. And going through here, there was, and as far as him being declared or being put up for sainthood, and as you can tell, I'm not Catholic because I don't understand how any of this stuff works, that there was a little boy who had some kind of problem with his pancreas, and that someone had brought him a picture of this boy on a t-shirt or something, of Carlos on a t-shirt, and that the child was healed.
That is actually really incredible.
So that is considered to be a miracle, and I think that there has to be at least 2 miracles for somebody to be put up for sainthood.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the proper vernacular. I'm sorry about that. And that there was someone else who had also been healed. And so they did exhume his body and put him to a grave outside town of Santa Maria. It's Saint Mary Major in English, because I'm not going to try the Italian of it either. And some of them are saying that he is the new patron saint of the internet, possibly replacing Saint Isidore of Seville, who lived around 600 AD. Now, I'm not sure exactly how Saint Isidore, when he lived before there was a time of internet, how that would be, how that would be feasible.
Bogus minted?
I don't know. But Carlos's family and friends and former classmates all said that just him being the way that he was brought them closer to God. And so the archdiocese...
Now that is a blessing.
Absolutely. The Archdiocese of Milan formally opened the cause for his canonization. That's on the road to sainthood. Like I said, I don't understand. But anyhow,
I don't understand that either. But
I'm just doing the best that I can on it. And so it says that 6 years later, the Pope declared him venerable, which is a status which recognized that Carlo lived the Christian virtues in a heroic way.
Huh.
He didn't just talk it, he walked it.
Yeah.
And so they have got him, that's his first picture. I'll go through the other pictures here in just a moment, in a glass-fronted tomb. It says, along with silicon reconstructions of his face and hands, which are shown crossed at the midriff clutching a rosary. It says that those have been made using the very modern miracle of 3D computer imaging technology. Mm-hmm. It said that his heart, encased in an ornate vessel, is now on display in the town's main cathedral. This is not different things than what we're used to. Okay?
Oh, that's interesting.
And it said that other Carlo relics toured the world, including a piece of the pericardium, which is the fibrous membrane that encloses the heart, and that it recently drew large crowds in Ireland. And it says hundreds of people a day now visit the tomb in this St. Mary, place. Place. It's like, Orlando, honey, you're struggling. Yes, I'm struggling.
Is it a church?
I'm struggling.
Is it a church?
It is a place where he is. I mean, his tomb is there, but it is in this place.
Okay.
And it said that last week, before, during, and after a wedding, that whoever this reporter was watched a steady flow of tour groups, individual pilgrims, and crocodiles. Crocodiles of school children trooped in. I don't understand that
what do you mean,
phrasing.
crocodiles?
I don't know.
Are lizard babies?
Maybe. And it said that they all headed straight
children.
for Carlo's, tomb or his stone casket there. Yes, because children are curious, and when you have the remains of someone laying there, they're going to go and look.
Yeah.
It's on display. That's the whole point.
You're going to be like, what is this?
And it says
have them have an existential crisis at the age of 3.
I did. I never got over it. And since some
We're still living in one big existential crisis.
Every day. Some sat in quiet contemplation. Others bowed their heads and prayed, crossed themselves, lit candles, or blew kisses towards the tomb. Many touched the glass, and more than one wiped away a tear. And says that there was a box on the wall where you can post your prayer intentions to him, and that it was crammed with bits of folded paper. And they said, I will show you here, and let me switch because I've got to switch between screens here. This, and if I can get it in order, that was what Carlo looked like. And it, very, very attractive young man. He's a good-looking kid. And that's another view of the tomb. And then this is as far as, did you call it memorabilia?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that there's even a stained glass window. Which
is actually really well done. It was
way cool.
Yeah.
It was way cool. And within this, as far as him being the first time that there has been a millennial who was up for sainthood.
Right. Because
why would you not? I mean, these things don't stop.
But that is good that he was a godly person.
Yes. Yes. And it says that today that there are tour groups from Asia, Africa, United States, and Europe that they come to see the tomb.
Yeah.
And, well, it says that there is... This was one of the things that sort of... The way this was written, whether it was intentional or not, it was sort of like Spock eyebrow. And it says, inevitably, there has been a boom in Carlo souvenirs, including key rings, bracelets, and fridge magnets.
Okay.
I love them out and sale at the mini trinket shops there in the little town. And it just, like I said, it's just one of those. And they've got some of the depictions with him with a laptop. Other ones show him with a smartphone. I think in the stained glass window, he had a little smartphone.
Uh-huh.
And anyhow, it says that you can buy it's a priestly stole, which is a clerical silk vestment, which is worn over the shoulders, which hangs down to the knee, that's imprinted with Carlo's face. And in other shops, you can get T-shirts. Let's see, I think those were like 19 pounds a piece. It says, but why Carlo and why now? And the article says, under the arcane rules of the Catholic Church, a dead person can qualify for sainthood if 2 miracles, here we go, that's what I was looking for, are attributed to them and approved by the Vatican. And the second of Carlo's miracles has just been formally acknowledged by Pope Francis. And these miracles must be acts of healing that are inexplicable, sudden, and complete, and they must have followed prayers which specifically invoked the intercession of the candidate, in this case, Carlo. The healings must be thoroughly investigated by both theologians and Vatican-appointed medical professionals to ensure that they are genuine and that there can, at least in the eyes of the Church, be no natural explanation beyond the power of God. And that's where it's talking about the first miracle was a 4-year-old from southern Brazil in 2013, and he had the pancreatic disorder and frequent vomiting, and that a local priest had been sent one of Carlo's T-shirts After contacting the mother of the child, and he was reported to have said he wished that he could stop vomiting so much, and he touched the garment, and he never vomited again, and was healed.
Okay.
And it said that the church
That's pretty cool.
dispatched a special unit to Brazil to examine the claims, and the incident was approved as a true miracle by the Pope in 2020. There's one of my 20s finally. And Carlo was then beatified, meaning he was granted the title of blessed, which is an important step on the way to sainthood. And miracle number 2 concerned a 21-year-old who was a student in Florence who suffered a serious cycling accident in 2022, and she underwent an emergency operation to relieve pressure on her brain, but was left in critical condition. 6 days later, her mother prayed for her daughter's recovery at Carlos's tomb in Assisi. On the very same day, says the church, the girl recovered the use of her limbs, was able to speak, and the signs of trauma about her head disappeared. So, yeah, that pretty much qualifies as a miracle in my book.
Yeah,
it says
that does.
she was discharged from intensive care 10 days after her mother's prayers. And the church duly examined the claims. And then just a few days ago, on May the 23rd, the Pope issued a decree approving the healing of this girl as a true miracle. And there's another unofficial miracle that Carlo died as an only child, but after his passing, his mother gave birth to twins. And she was 44 when she had those. And she said that she attributes their birth to Carlo, who told her in a dream, "Don't worry, you will become a mother again."
Okay. That's
way cool.
Yeah.
Because for a parent to lose a child, and to have the vision of the child that was lost coming, with good news, that's always a wonderful thing.
Like, that is pretty cool. If that's verifiable, that's, yeah. Okay.
And so there's some of them, and like I said, this is not my belief system, so I don't understand some of the things, such as holding a rosary against the glass of the tomb in order to make that somehow sanctified or something, and then give that to someone else. Not quite sure. But one of the mothers that was from Germany, who has 10 children, said that she had prayed for Carlo to help her children who have a passion for the internet that leads to fights over how many hours they spend in front of the computer.
Nah.
And to ask him to help these children use the internet in a proper manner. So, is it, do young people today need someone to look to, such as Carlo, to help them, lead a more fulfilling life, a more righteous life?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
No.
It ain't gonna hurt nothing. And let's see, it says that not everyone in Assisi is quite so impressed. Now remember, this is as far as St. Francis of Assisi. Mm-hmm. And I think he was the one that was the patron saint of animals. He
okay.
was, familiar with some of them, not that many of them.
Yeah.
And this was another one that raised the Spock eyebrow, this part of the article. It said, one elderly local pointed out that the town already has St. Francis, founder of the famous Order of Friars, and described the display of Carlo's remains as medieval. And had said that St. Francis, who died in 1226, is the main saint here. His remains are wild at the basilica. Everyone's more down to earth about him, and he's long been important to the town's economy.
Is that That's
like I said,
suspicious.
that
That's
was
weird.
there was a Spock eyebrow for me on that. It said that another of the
Interesting
local
choices.
another local claimed tour parties visiting Carlo's tomb caused traffic problems, adding, quote, "I'm sure Carlo was a charming boy, but I've heard from a tour guide that one visitor said, 'We've seen Carlo. What else is there interesting to see after that here? Assisi has some of the most important pre-Renaissance art in the world. Now we're probably going to be overrun by big groups just coming for Carlo and not staying long,'" end quote. Yeah.
I can't say much. I gotta bite my tongue.
I know, it's just, what is up with that? What is up with that? And so, I think this, like I said, it's just interesting. Interesting is a word I use when I don't know what else to say.
I don't know if there's really anything to say, but I mean,
Let me tell you something.
what is there to say?
Like, this is, and I have heard Jimmy Akin discuss a lot of different things. And he is a Catholic apologist. If you've never listened to any of his stuff, please do so. He does a lot of paranormal and weird stuff. He goes into it from a totally academic, a healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
He is a cool dude. He is just a way cool dude.
Yeah.
And even as far as how he decided on the Catholicism, it's interesting. I've listened to several hours of his presentations. The best one was where he talked with Dr. Justin Sledge. That's a 2-part thing. The whole thing lasts about 3 or 4 hours, but it is well spent. Explains so much.
Yeah.
That's it on that.
I
But
sat in on some of those videos. It's pretty cool.
he is way cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoy him. Very likable man. But he's one that I turn to as far as trying to get the Catholic perspective of why they do what they do on some of the things, because it is foreign from my interpretation, understanding, and personal study. But this is what it is. It is a personal walk. It is a personal relationship.
Right. Right.
So I will have to look and see if he perchance has a video about Carlo. And even as far as saints. Now, I do know that they do with relics, which are bits of bodily remains of saints, and that they will put them somehow near the altar. And there is a Catholic cathedral in Roanoke, Virginia, that it's been many, many years ago since I visited. I was a young teenager, and I was amazed. I had never seen anything like that. Because coming from small, simple country church, and then
awesome
it was opulent.
Oh, wow.
It was just opulent.
Heck yeah.
And as far as taking the time to truly explain to those of us who did not know, no, they really didn't. And neither did our experience at the synagogue later that evening. That was something, because when you have somebody that is new to your place of worship, any place of worship, if they do not feel welcome, they're not going to come back. And that's a really sad thing that happens in our world today. But this young man, Carlo, as far as him being an example to help other people draw closer to God, especially young people in today's world, I don't have a problem with that.
No.
So, like I said, I just thought it was pretty cool that they're getting ready to get a Millennial Saint.
That is pretty cool.
I'll probably go back and edit this and go, my God, I sounded like a just total... Because I'm trying to form words.
Mm-hmm. And be like, YK didn't say shit this episode.
Well, and it's also us trying to be respectful of other people's belief systems that is not like ours. And so we did discuss this. It's like, this is just an exploration. If it had been any other...
This is something that oldest kid should have been on in.
Oh, no, it would have been 4 or 5 hours long because the oldest kid goes in and it's like everything is a damn dissertation.
That's
and
when
it's
you
like,
just
no.
that's when you edit shit out. You edit shit out.
It's already late in the evening anyhow. I had difficulty with the pictures. Youngest kid was kind enough to resize some of them for me so that they all fit on the OBS thing.
Sometimes you got to do that magic with it. You got to do that video magic to get make everything run smoothly.
But looking at the stained glass of Carlo here, and he's got his little cell phone on there and stuff. It's like, why would they? There are some people that think that miracles stopped after the apostles.
Right.
And it's like, no.
Miracles happen every day.
We've seen them.
Yeah.
We've experienced them.
Yeah.
God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So, generations come and they go, and you've got people that God sends in each and every one of them. So why not this young man?
Right. Right.
And yes, the old timers, they think that it's something horrific because it's not somebody from back from Moses' time.
But the eyebrow raise with the economy bit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Is it just about money to you now?
Right. That's what concerns me. Because this young man apparently gave to those in need. Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting story.
That is very admirable.
Yeah. Well, it's something that any of us, of any belief system, can do.
Yeah.
And my scripture, it says, if whoever you do to the least of these, you've done it unto me. That means that whoever you have done whatever for, that you've done that for Christ or to Christ. And that if you give somebody a cup of water in the name of Christ, that he will bless you for it. Mm-hmm. That's it. We're simple. I'm poddling.
Yeah.
I'm poddling. That's nothing more.
Yeah.
I know where I've been. I know what I've done, and I know who saved me. So maybe there's people out there that didn't need saving. I certainly did.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, kid.
There's a lot of people who need saving.
Well, it says all have sinned and fallen short.
Yeah.
But there's a way out of that.
First
step.
Final thoughts after the coffee break. I need to use a bathroom. Sorry.
If you've had experiences with the supernatural, paranormal encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, you can send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email address is there in the description box. And I will put the link to the article so that you can go and read it fully. And the way that it's written, you can go, that's why she was hemming and hawing on some of this stuff too. In addition to try to be, I don't want to say delicate, mindful. Trying to be mindful of other people's belief systems, trying to show respect. That was it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was my attempt at tact. I don't do it well, do I?
It's a good video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, most of all, subscribe, and click that notification button for daily notifications of what?
Speak up!
I am! Damn it. What? Subscribe. Check her out on BitChute, Rumble, Orlando's Cup of Coffee with Scream. Check her out on X, previously known as Twitter. Orlando COCWS. It's like a pirate radio station call sign.
That's what we are. ARG.
Arg.
Oh my God. I'll tell you out the snort now, won't it?
No.
Know that you are loved. Treat
Yep.
other people the way that you would like to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the basis. Kindness, love, forgiveness, compassion.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cut.
Yep.
Bye.